Michelle, I remember Collin meeting with you very early on and you about PartySlate, giving me great ideas, not holding back with things you do like, things you don't like, how we should make changes. You joined our town hall meeting for employees, doing a fireside chat. I appreciate you guys because you care about this industry, you give back to this industry, you mentor so many people in the industry, and you've helped me a lot.
Well, thank you. The feeling's very mutual.
Yes. So just to get started, I would love if the two of you could kind of tell your founding story of how I know you were kind of born into hospitality, but how you decided to actually go full-time into the industry, and tell a little bit about your background for those who don't know.
Sure. So essentially, for those of you that are not aware, I'm a wedding planner based here in Chicago, but my family also has a restaurant here in Chicago. So, the restaurant was actually started by my grandfather, Gene, and it's called Gene Georgetti. So Gene was my grandfather, and his partner was Georgetti. It was my mom's dad, who actually just sat down. She's here. Oh. Hi, Mom. She's here because I never see my mom because I'm always working, so she came to actually also see me physically. But hi, Mom. So he started that back in 1941. So this year we're celebrating 85 years, which is cool and amazing. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But what's worth noting here amongst all of you today is that I did not initially have any intention of ever being part of the restaurant. I started in events. My first internship was at a public affairs firm by the name of Jessica Turman and Associates, and I worked in politics. I worked for the Clinton family, the Obama family, Norman Lear. I was traveling the country doing a lot of political advance, and then fell into wedding planning. I've had my business now for 18 years, and I would say about 15 or 16 years ago, long story, very short, because 85 years, and I'm a talker, so apologies in advance. But long story, very short, about 16 years ago, my father went through a really significant health issue and was actually in a coma and came out of it with essentially pulmonary fibrosis. Okay, so he was on oxygen and a lot less able to move in the multiple directions that he had moved in. He was in radio advertising for 30 years and had actually purchased the restaurant from my grandmother upon my grandfather's death so it could stay in the family, all right? So we are very similar in the sense that we are multi-hyphenate, me and my dad. I got that from him, I think, my hustle a little bit. Yeah. But over the last 16 years, as his health gradually began to decline, and also we were all hit from all angles with things like COVID. 6 months prior to COVID, our restaurant caught on fire. We had 2 locations at that time, and we had, unfortunately, a family member working in the brand who shouldn't have been, and it took a while to kind of discover the level of shouldn't have been. So all of that was happening at one time while we were trying to figure that out. I was gradually getting pulled in. I'm an only child in an Italian-American family, so you're never not part of the family business. But I was really kicking and screaming because I was like, nope, I have built this business. I'm a wedding planner. And I started calling myself jokingly a reluctant restaurateur. And it has taken me the last 5 years, and it has been a pretty incredible, at times dramatic journey to get to a place where hospitality is a word I now use, and I feel like my world has melded and everything moves together in one street, and it's not about lanes anymore. It's about everything kind of communicating in symphony. And so that's my nutshell.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
You went in kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming, and I still do it sometimes too. So now you go.
Collin.
Top that, buddy. I'm just kidding.
Would anybody like a hot dog?
They need their own TV show, for sure.
So I actually started photographing when I was about 12 years old. I had a mentor who was a neighbor who just so happened to be a Pulitzer Prize winner. And I got started when I said I wanted to pick up a camera. And I never looked back. I was working for newspapers in Kansas City, Missouri, and at age 15, and got into studio work, a little bit of sports, a little bit of fashion and commercial, and then kind of fell into weddings. Yeah. And it's been about, I think, 15 years now, 18 years. Yeah.
I have to say something funny.
Okay.
My mom's. So he mentioned he's from Missouri, right? I mentioned I'm from an Italian-American family. When I told my parents that I was dating a guy named Collin Pierson from Missouri, my parents were like, what is that?
Accurate.
So, and that will become relevant later when we go through the rest of the story, but just keep that in mind.
That leads to my next question. Working closely with family, tell us about the challenges and benefits of a family business, because I know many people in the audience do you have family members that either partner with them, assist, or somehow are involved with the business?
So awesome. All of the time.
So let me say two things.
I want both perspectives.
Well, yeah, and we have two separate, because like mine was inherited. He kind of was dragged into it in a different way, right? But two things I do want to lead off with. One is working with family, working with any kind of relationship that you have, be it a business partner. Everything is familial to some degree, every relationship you develop. And it's complicated and it's layered, obviously, right? The second thing I want to say is, for those of you that aren't thinking this way, legacy planning is the most important thing that you can do. If you have built a business and you have created something, it doesn't matter if no blood relative is inheriting it, you have a legacy to plan for. Do that now. I don't care if your company's 3 days old, start thinking about that, because what happens when you are not there is very important, and I've learned that the hard way, right? Because my father passed away last September, and had we not been legacy planning for the last 2 years, we might not have still had the restaurant. And I'm being dead serious, because I'm not a gatekeeper. So today is all about transparency, and I hope you can take something valuable from our time up here, aside from hot dogs. But so working with family it's a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag. There are, we are a multi-generational business, so we have had several iterations of family involved in our restaurant. There's also a clear direct line to how I ended up here, was because other family members at various times throughout the restaurant's history have been involved, are no longer involved, and there's a reason.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to talk about, and it's uncomfortable, but unfortunately it's real. And it happens in this industry also. You have a business, I had a business partner when I started MDE, and that fell apart, and went to lawyers and conversation and all of that. Things get messy. That's like legacy plan, have an attorney, have stuff written down. Like Akeshi and I talk, she's one of my closest friends, and we discuss frequently, like we use the same attorney. We talk about things all the time when you're growing and doing all of that, because family or not, relationships in business are complicated.
Very complicated. Collin, how about you?
Let me get a show of hands here. How many people own a family business? Okay. How many people work for a family business in some capacity? Okay. All right.
Y'all get gold stars.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think, for the majority of the people in the room here, you're either a sole proprietor or a small LLC, or you do work for a company that is either small or local, and there is a family component that comes into that every single time we walk into a room, whether it's a wedding or it's into an office. Yeah. And I think it's worth noting that for a lot of us, having the awareness of what it means to work with family business really helps to create and curate an environment that can actually flourish. For me, I think that Michelle, getting into the business with her in the restaurant was something kind of forced and pushed and, like shoved off of a cliff after a fire happened, and they said, go design a kitchen. And I said, I have never designed a kitchen. And then they said, well, now you have to design a kitchen. So that's what I did.
Well, and it wouldn't still be here without you, just so we say that publicly. Because I don't ever give him compliments. Now, y'all heard me in the room. Okay.
Philippe
Noted.
from Mirar and Livia Visual is recording, so I
We
want
got
that.
the sound on
Yep,
that.
I see the red button.
And I was just going to
Go
say,
ahead.
these big challenges, come and they hit us left and right as a co-founder of a business. You could never imagine a 2-year pandemic. It was never in my risk list of all the things I could consider that would happen, things like that. So how do you really push through when these kind of unexpected challenges happen?
So just to give everybody a little context, in 2019, I had worked my first Italy wedding. I had landed at 10 p.m., I think it was October 3rd. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call the following morning that the restaurant was on fire. Okay? And remember, my dad's health was already compromised, so he was starting to move a little bit slower. I was the first one on site. Collin was actually in New York shooting Bridal Fashion Week. So I didn't know what I was walking into. The restaurant was closed for 6 months. We were going into fourth quarter. everybody knows you have like we used to, at least in the wedding and events industry, have like a season that's gradually becoming larger. I'm sure all of you are feeling that. But the restaurant fourth quarter is where it's at. Like there at that time, that could have been $1 million quarter for the restaurant. It was gone. And we had a location in Rosemont, some of you may remember. And again, transparency, that was spending $7 million to make 6. That was that family member that had to be removed, right? Because that math's not mathing, okay? So now we lose the original restaurant, right? Because it's down. I have to rebuild a kitchen. I have no idea how to do it. And 6 months in, March 20th, grand reopening party scheduled, and the pandemic hits. Okay, so just so everybody in this room knows, we were $2 million in debt by the time we were in the middle of the pandemic. Now, the good news is, because I don't like cliffhangers, all that money was paid back, literally every vendor. We were so lucky that we had the reputation we did. Also important to note, your name is your bond. My grandfather used to say that all the time. And we paid every penny back, okay? It took a while. We did a payment plan. Communication was key in how we did that. But we were in it. And the way we survived was just one foot in front of the other. We had each other. I had a lot of really good friends, like Allie and I, and we had like the Illinois Events Coalition. We did things that we felt mattered at the time. Collin created the steak boxes to help ship steaks nationwide. We did whatever we could. And there were days, literally, that I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
You know? But what do? It's everybody in this room, it's your livelihood, right? Those of you that are entrepreneurs that own businesses, you went through this no differently than we did, right? You wake up and you're like, oh my God, right? Bills, family, obligations, legacy, right? Mortgage, whatever it is, it's knocking on your door on a constant basis, and you just don't want to, but you have to. And so to answer your question, like I didn't have a choice. I had to do it. I had to find the way, so I did. Yeah.
I think when the pandemic hit, and obviously we had venture funding, we have a lot of investors, we knew we had to help this industry when they needed help. And so what we did is a weekly free webinar, not just about PartySlate, but how to be on LinkedIn, how to build your website, how to do email marketing. And I think because we gave to the industry, when it turned around, people gave back, and we built our brand during an incredibly
100%.
challenging time.
Yeah. I think many of us in the room can also say we came out, like, I don't know about y'all, but like I never want to go back and visit those times. Like I took a lot of valuable lessons from it. It was a great place, never going back there. Never going back. But one of the things I learned was, the things that I feared most, I've now lived through. Right? So it's given me a sense of my own tenacity that has made me look at everything differently, like take the breath, solve the problem, move on to the next thing. And that's probably the most valuable. And those conversations, even what you were offering at PartySlate, what I was getting from relationships in the industry, what Collin and I were doing, what my parents were providing for me support-wise. My dad was a rock even through that, is that ability to just think. It's, don't make a decision that's emotional when you're in a long-term scenario. And so.
I always say, take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. And I think the industry did rise to the occasion, and there was a lot of collaboration and new coalitions and things that.
Well, we had no choice. Everybody in this room, did y'all have a choice? But I'm not going to pandemic today. Thank you. No one had a choice, right? You had to figure it out. You had to figure it out. So props to all of you for doing that.
Yes. My question to both of you is, breaking into the industry, especially the luxury industry, getting larger events with bigger budgets, more creativity, how did you get to that point where you were doing the Italy wedding, you were doing the next level events?
Okay.
Would you like a hot dog?
Lunchtime's coming soon.
Okay.
So it's kind of a weird kind of circle. Okay, you can't get, let's take Italy, for example. You can't get a wedding in Italy until you can show work that you've done a wedding in Italy. But you can't show work for the wedding in Italy until you do the wedding in Italy. So just as an example. And that's kind of the problem I ran into when I started in the wedding and event side of photography. And I ended up second photographing for a guy here in Chicago, a talented photographer named Kenny Kim. And I spent like 2 years doing that before I actually started getting weddings. And, it's one of those problems that also can create its own solution. Because if you spend time in a place, or if you dedicate time to the task or the place that you want to work, or the type of work you want to do, or in whatever field it may be in this industry, something organically will happen. And I don't know how else to say that, but it just will. Because if you invest your time and your energy into it, somebody will respond to it. Somebody will, number one, see your energy, or they'll feel your energy, or they will hear about you, or see what you're doing, or see what you're posting about, and somehow there will be some sort of response. And that is going to be, from a business standpoint, your ROI. Whether it's an investment of dollars, or time, or keyboard hours, or whatever it is, you'll get it, and that's how you kind of take the circle and you cut it in half. And that's kind of how I did it, yeah.
Michelle?
For me, my appetite for knowledge is very voracious, and I don't like to step into anything, especially in this industry, without some kind of experience. So I did not want to have a client in Italy without knowing what it was like to work in Italy, because for those of you that don't know, I'm fluent in Italian, I speak the language, I'm very culturally knowledgeable. So I put my feet down in that country because I knew it. I had lived it my entire life. I went to school there. When I tell you I'm fluent, like I studied that language for 16 years in addition to being raised in this family, okay? So I take it very seriously. And when someone's like, I'm just going to do it in Italy, I'm like, good luck, because it can be third world sometimes. And I say that with the utmost unconditional love for the country. I put my feet on that ground not only as a proud Italian American or a person who lived there, a person who loved the language. I went as a planner, and I worked with hotel groups and companies out there that allowed me to be part of shoots and allowed me to grow vendor relationships and reputations. I talked to Lisa from Elegante Weddings, who was ahead of me and very brilliant at working abroad. And I was like, hey, do you have a floral vendor that you trust? Because I knew she had a trusted network. So again, it came back to, and she was kind enough to share that with me, and I still work with him to this day. So thank you for that. You have to have trust. You have to have a really good circle of people that can educate you on what you're doing. And that was how luxury to me is a term I kind of love and hate, right? Because not everybody's in the luxury market, and that's okay. You can have a super profitable career and existence not being in luxury, right? Do what you do to the best of your ability, and love that, right? And be voracious at it with it. For me, I wanted to work in the big budget stuff, so I was like, I was like a dog with a bone. Yeah. And I just kept pushing.
You stuck to it, and you got to know I always say the venues have so much power in the industry, and I think the venues in the room, of course planners do too, but oftentimes the venues do get the inquiries first, even if it's a high end. And to have those relationships with those venues in Italy, I'm sure led to
it was venues, it was vendors, and it was also my social media became huge. This was something, speaking of mentoring, Akeshi was very generous with her expertise for me, because I started really posting about where I wanted to see myself and what I wanted to do. I even did a wedding, which we're going to talk about here in Chicago, that was a huge milestone for me, and I went to a specific designer at a specific design firm because I knew not only was it the right fit for the client, but it was going to elevate my business. Yes. And those are also very intentional. Who you partner with and why need to be intentional decisions, because that's going to get you where you want to go.
Yes, and you are very good at sending our team content. We're always getting your new content on PartySlate. Tell us a little bit about your PartySlate profile and what you think of it.
My husband loves that I'm social media addicted. But I am. My website, I blog 3 times a week on Durpetti Events. I have a personal website. I manage 7 social media accounts. I am solely responsible for the restaurant, the farm, all of the things. My personal, Collin manages like 18 LLCs. That's his part. I do this, right? Wow. So PartySlate is a huge component for us because, and this, I say this all the time, for me, it is a living, breathing portfolio. I don't have album. You just talked about this in your presentation. I don't have a place on my website because I don't like going on a planner's, just as for me personally, so please don't take this personal if you have this. I don't like seeing albums on a site. Yeah. I just put up a page of hero shots, but I love that PartySlate lists all of the recent work I've done. You also help me write these super optimized descriptions, and it's a great place to like feed people to. There's now press that lives up there. There's reviews. It's this really cohesive place that's secondary to my website where I can send people and be like, look how legit we are. Hire us, please, right?
Yes.
It's that simple. And that's really that's one of the things I've always consistently taken from it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And your profile is living and breathing, and it does complement. It doesn't replace your website.
No.
I always tell people you can have a lighter website. It should be beautiful. It should represent your brand. But people want to dig in that journey that I shared, 7 to 10 touch points. There's proof for this high consideration purchase. They don't just pick up the phone like, oh, I heard about you, I'm going to call you. They want to get to know you first, and I think you guys do a great job with your page.
Well, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's not just, oh, I plan beautiful events. Who are you? How are your clients resonating with you?
Yes.
Because you are your brand. I've learned that with the restaurant. Everywhere I go, every room I walk into, I'm a restaurateur, I'm a wedding planner, I'm all of the things. I'm never only one thing.
Yeah.
So that like glazed donut face, sometimes you have to put a right? Like it's really important to know that you're always representing your brand. It's the same thing on social platforms. You're always, so how people find you and how you stick is so important.
Yes, I agree. And I think that some people are obsessed with perfection, which is okay.
Yeah.
People want perfection. And John, my co-founder, always says, done is better than perfect.
So does Akeshi. I got that from her.
Akeshi?
Yeah.
Oh, they're sitting by each other
Yeah.
too. So
You two should chat now.
Yeah. They should be best friends. And I think that's important for the perfectionists in the room. And sometimes I can be one of those, like, oh, you know what, it's just not perfect, or blah, 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 blah. Getting your content out there is more important than perfection. And I also think sometimes it's okay to show less than perfection, that you're human, that you're authentic. And
Philippe helps me with that. So
yes.
I launched a YouTube channel this year.
yes.
And he does all my content for me.
Yes.
And there'll be times when I'm like, "Zzz," and he's like, just go.
Just keep going.
Talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great because when you have those people around you that pull that, done is better than perfect.
Yes.
I mean, maybe not for your clients' events. Like, oh, we're done. I'm sure it's fine. Maybe that's not applicable
But
specifically there.
Even for events, though,
Yeah.
you have a timeline, and
Yeah.
you have to know when to give up on. Like the trust is broken,
Yeah.
but when you have to. You have a live event, and I think you should think about social media and think about your PartySlate profile the same way. You have to time box it,
Yeah.
and then you got to get it done. Otherwise, there's always going to be tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow.
100%.
Right, Collin?
Absolutely.
And so, Collin, tell me a little bit about La Via Visual. Did I say it right?
You did.
Visual?
Yes.
No, I'm joking.
No, La Via Visual.
It depends which
Which is
language.
your new kind of cross-media
Yeah.
offering.
So Michelle, myself, and Philippe of Mirar Media and Mirar Weddings.
He's standing back there. That's why we're waving at him.
He actually filmed our wedding
Yeah.
at the Breakers in Florida almost 10 years ago. And we've been great friends ever since. We actually just finished up working in Italy and also going to a conference in Italy. And we were sitting, sipping our spritz and talking. We're like, this was fun. We should do this more. And it kind of morphed into this conversation of, well, how about we just create photo and cinematography that go together and meld kind of seamlessly, but also bringing in people that we trust and we love to work alongside us. So, for instance, yesterday,
Yesterday.
yes,
No, 2 days ago.
it
2 days
is
ago.
Tuesday. My name is Collin.
Yeah, you're free. You're in it, babe. You're in it. You got this.
Yes.
You got
Okay.
it.
All right. So Sunday, Lavia did Haley Page's debut of her runway and her new collection in Palm Beach at the
And I
Colony
saw
Hotel.
that all over social
Yeah,
media.
and that
Yeah.
was really amazing because we were able to bring in a fabulous photographer, Kent Drake, from Chicago. We brought in another photographer, Iram Trio, from Dallas-Fort Worth area, who has worked with designers from all over the world, Gali Lahav, Berta, etc., and say, hey guys, come on in. Let's make some magic. And it's not just about there's one principle and then there's people underneath that. It's about everybody cohesively working. Franny, my associate here in the room here, is part of that cohesion. And it kind of changed how we want to give clients the opportunity to get content and images and film and social content from one house where everything stays very cohesive.
I like it.
It also includes the opportunity, like for example, I went down to that show. Not as a producer, though. So Whitney Carry-On did the event. But I was able to creatively direct and manage photo, video, content, creation, all of that. So she knew that was all getting handled. Everybody's shot lists, all of the hashtags, all of the various responsibilities.
The planner could take
yeah,
that off
because
their plate.
obviously, and you know this, you do events like that, you do them in trade. So the ROI for everybody that's participating is what they're going to get out of it. And making sure that someone is monitoring that is really important. So it's really a multimedia collective. And the brilliant part for us, we hope, is going to be as people move in and out of it, they never have to sacrifice their own brand. They can, for example, work wherever we work. If they don't have a platform to Italy already and they want to do that, great. And later on, after things are published, submitted, whatever, they get access to the content, because that's also something I think that people go through as they go from second shooter. But you don't always get to share it as your own work. We want you to do that.
Great.
And we don't ever want you to, we want it to be collaborative and cohesive and not like overarching, right?
I love it. Like a collective.
Yep,
Yes.
100%.
I love that. And I know we're running out of time. I could talk to you all day. But could you share, there's some newer people to the industry here. There's obviously a lot of veterans and people who have been here a long time. But for the newer folks, what are some lessons learned kind of that you wish you knew kind of earlier in your career that you can share with the audience?
I'm going to do another hand thing real quick. How many people are planners? Okay. Photographers, filmmakers. Okay. Venues, decor.
She did say we're
floral.
running out of time.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to get a little, just to kind of where the bulk of people are. All right. So with those hands going up, you take this now and answer the question.
Thanks. 8 years. Time flies when
Yeah.
you're madly in love.
I thought he said 10 years.
That's because that's probably mileage for him.
Okay.
Like dog years.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing I would take away is this. So
Yeah.
communication is key, and within that, relationships are key. So here today, we're talking about content, specifically digital content. When you are part of an event, you are, whether or not you're the planner as a producer, you're the designer, you're bringing in lighting, you're providing entertainment, cake, whatever so many of us, whatever all of you do, that is an immense talent, right? You're part of a larger component. Make sure that you're crediting. Make sure that you are building relationships in this industry, because hair and makeup, whomever you might be, right? When you just post and you're like, oh, I didn't know the vendors, or you come in singularly focused on what you're going to get out of it without being willing to collaborate, you're going to lose the opportunity to build the bridge, right? Planners, I think, are really conscious of this. I would encourage you to remain conscious about it, and everybody in the industry be aware of how important communication is, going back to the digital component. Content now is king, right? When I started my business, Instagram didn't even exist, because I'm like right up there with when the wheel was invented. And like
Not true.
I feel I feel like nowadays there's so many options, and don't be afraid to be selective. Don't be afraid to be choosy. Don't be afraid to know what you don't know. I mean, this is really cool to sit up here with you today. Thank you for this. But like, there's still so much, excuse my French, but like SHIT that I don't know on a daily basis. And that's why I have Bridget and Joy and Chris, our event director, and all of the wonderful people that help us. So like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Always stay a student and always stay studying. And please, please cultivate your relationships and have an attorney.
That's great advice. Yeah, I would say there are a lot of, hey, we're going to come together and create this business. Just like you explained, I hear that a lot.
Write it down.
Do not underestimate, not only writing it down, you can use your ChatGPT lawyer now and, get something, even save money with your lawyer. Get a draft of an agreement, then have someone review it, write it down, handshakes. I'm sorry, that leads to lawsuits.
I'm just going to say this really quick to close that component. When my father's mother passed away, she did not have a will. She was a very simple woman. She actually worked for Chicago Public Schools as a cook. So hospitality's been in my family on both sides forever. Her will and testament was on a cocktail napkin, and it was share and share alike, because she had 4 kids. And that was technically a legal document because she had written it, right? Yeah. Now, we're many years past that, and we're all in an industry, as you all know, because I'm sure you've all had that one client where you're like, but we are not afforded the luxury of missing the protecting ourselves. So just ChatGPT is great, but get the lawyer.
Yeah, I mean,
Get the
they
lawyer.
can have hallucinations, so you don't want to just rely on ChatGPT.
Yes.
But I will tell you, you can get smarter.
100%.
with AI. Don't be afraid to get smarter and then meet with the lawyer.
And AI can be a help when you're getting contracts.
Yes.
Like my team constantly from my Italian contracts, they'll upload them into ChatGPT and be like, can you help me understand this?
Yeah.
And it allows them another tool to break it down. So
Yeah, I use it every day.
Yeah.
Great. So we're going to wrap up the panel. You guys are amazing. I do think you should have your own little TV show together. I'd like to know, kind of over the next 12 months, what are you excited about? What's next?
So we're writing a book.
Yay.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. So we're doing that. We, about a year and a half ago, jarred our pasta sauce at the restaurant, and that just got picked up by a grocery store. Can't tell you what yet, so, but don't worry, I will. So I'm really excited about that. And then, you know what we didn't talk about, which we need to say? PartySlate, I booked my first my first Illinois $1 million wedding off percentage through PartySlate. The client came to me through PartySlate. I forgot to, that was that wedding you and I did, Natalie.
Yeah.
That was that, yeah.
'Cause I remember you telling me that you bought a horse with that money.
Sure did. Sure did.
She does horseback riding.
Didn't even bat an eyelash at that one. I was like, here you go. So we have the pasta sauce coming out. We're writing a book. We are potentially moving into the South Florida market with Gene and Georgetti. We have a lot of good stuff going on. And then as far as us, I mean, Livia, and keep on keeping on.
You got a lot on
a
your
few
plate.
things.
Yeah. Colin, did you want to add, or is that enough?
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
He's always like, can we stop doing the things?
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you again
Thanks for having us.
Your support, your feedback from PartySlate. You're always willing to talk to our team, talk to our product group, and the kind of photographer, planner, hospitality mix is particularly helpful for
Entertaining.
us.
Yes.
Entertaining and helpful, because we like to take the angle of all the different pieces of our ecosystem that work together. So I think you guys are a unique power couple that brings so many different talents together, and I thank you for being on our stage.
Thanks. We're just thrilled
Thank
to
you.
be here with all of you.
We're very excited.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.